where we say the change triggers could be many. It could be an acquisition, it could be a strategic business transformation, it could be restructuring. The behavior changes are critical, and it is the levers of change which will actually enable. So at every level, and as we saw, two of the most critical levers are very much in this room, which is leadership, and the second is communication. And a lot of our research says that for something to be called effective communication, it becomes effective when it is said the 10th time. But don't despair, I'm finishing it now, and that's the last of my slide. But it is for us to really actively look at how have we changed ourselves. So again, when was the last time we did something for the first time? And how do we actively communicate, or we think it will be some magic and people will see the change and tell us. So thank you, and I'll now hand over to the eminent panelists.
Radhika, for such an enlightening session. As a token of our gratitude, I request Professor K.K. Sinha, Head HR and Chairperson, Center for Management Development at BIMTech, to help me in giving away a memento to Ms. Radhika. Can we have you on stage, both of you, please? Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, Professor Sinha. Last session for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, will bring out the various perspectives on leading change, what transformation means. Leaders face adapting to quantum change whilst trying to ensure the survival and prosperity of their organizations in a turbulent global economy. Among the vital qualities needed in responding to this challenge, constantly shifting situation are an open and rigorously questioning mind that welcomes contrary and diverse views, courage and integrity, humility and self-awareness, not being resistant or in denial. Essentially, it is our mental model towards change that defines whether leading change turns out to be a painful burden or a challenging learning experience. The speed of change has increased, and the time for companies, leaders, and employees to respond and adjust to it seems to get shorter and shorter. Change itself has not become more complex, but the average time to absorb it has probably decreased. Change has become a structural part of business reality, and it is here to stay. So the challenge for leaders is to adopt this mental model themselves before they can lead change successfully. Not just by talking about it, but also by their actions. The more they support cultures in which change is approached as something continuous, in which flexibility, resilience, vigilance, proactive behavior, and innovation are embedded, the more their teams will be able to embrace and achieve successful change. It all starts with the leader's mindset. So what advice do our panelists have for leading change, bearing in mind the peculiarities of the Indian business? To discuss this at length, I take the opportunity to invite our moderator for the session, Mr. Ajay Soni, Asia Pacific Practice Leader for Leadership Consulting at Aon Hewitt, on stage, please. Mr. Ajay Soni's expertise lies in organizational effectiveness and human resources strategy and increasing growth through innovation. He has 22 years of experience in human resources, encompassing both internal business partnerships and consulting roles. Ajay has offered consulting services to over 150 organizations, including Indian private sector enterprises, large public enterprises, multinationals, and conglomerates in the areas of large-scale change management, organizational restructuring, visioning, high-performance workforce, and HR effectiveness projects. Ajay has also been involved with top-notch companies for studies on leadership for many years and is currently leading the study for the Asia Pacific region. A BTech Mechanical, Ajay has completed his Master's in Business Administration from IIM Ahmedabad. He has served with ICI and Unilever in various business leadership roles for a decade, and for the last 12 years has been with Aon Hewitt, consulting for various clients. Welcome on board. I'll also like to call upon the panelists for this session, again in alphabetical order. I request Mr. Ajay Nirula to please come on stage, please. Mr. Nirula is presently the Chief Operating Officer at IL&FS Energy Development Company Limited. Definitely. His current responsibilities include development, implementation, and OMM of thermal gas, hydro, and transmission projects. Till recently, till April 2013, he was the CEO of Tata Power Delhi Distribution Limited, or Tata Power and Delhi Government Joint Venture for Power Distribution in Delhi, popularly known as NDPL. He's been there, done a whole lot of things, and he's requested me to please keep his introduction short. So you ask me, he's done administration, vigilance, oversight of power procurement. It goes on and on. Thank you very much for being here, sir. I next invite Dr. A.K. Balyan on the panel. Dr. Balyan is presently the MD and CEO of Petronet LNG Limited, one of the fastest growing world-class companies in the Indian energy sector. He is a topper from IIT Delhi in MTech and a PhD from Germany. Prior to joining Petronet, he was Director HR of ONGC and also had additional charge as Director in Charge Business Development and Joint Ventures. Dr. Balyan was elevated to the board of ONGC in 2003 for demonstrating remarkable competence in myriad roles. As Director HR, he led corporate rejuvenation campaign and pioneered a study to redefine the organization norms, focusing on roster roles and responsibilities to be benchmarked with global best practices. Glad to have you on the panel, sir. I now invite Dr. Devi Singh to join the panel members on the dais. Professor Devi Singh, currently serving his second term as Director of the Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, is a well-known professor in the area of international finance and management. Before joining IIM Lucknow, he was Director of MDI Gurgaon for 4.5 years. Prior to that, he was the visiting full professor at the Faculty of Management, McGill University, Canada for 5 years, and a whole lot of other institutes where he has gone on visiting assignments. He is the author of 3 books in finance and management. He is published and presented extensively. He has been a consultant to leading public, private, and multinational organizations in India. He sits on the board of various companies, and he has been honored with various awards, including the ISTE National Fellow 2007, UP Ratan Award in 2008, and the Ishan National Award for Best Director of Business School in 1999. Welcome on board, sir. I take the opportunity to now invite Ms. Preeti Das to join the panel. Ms. Preeti Das is the Chief Executive Officer of a global IT company, Birlasoft, which is part of the CK Birla Group, a multi-billion-dollar industrial group. As CEO, she is responsible for providing strategic direction to the company, scaling the business, and creating value for the stakeholders. Ms. Das carries with her over 25 years of experience with multiple large organizations, which include key positions of responsibility at Oracle Financial Services Software, iFlex, Microsoft, ICICI Lombard General Insurance, and New India Assurance. In her previous tenure, she has effectively managed acquisitions and organic growth for many organizations. She has been a catalyst in creating markets and growing the business for software products and consulting services all over the globe. An influential industry speaker, she has participated in many panel discussions, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us. Last but not the least, I invite Mr. S.Y. Siddiqui on the dais. Mr. Siddiqui is Chief Operating Officer, Administration at Maruti Suzuki India Limited. His role there includes HR, finance, IT, company law, and legal. He is also a part-time director on the board of Suzuki Motorcycles. He is presently on the board of the National HRD Network and the immediate past president from June 2011 to 2013. A postgraduate in HRM, Mr. Siddiqui has a career record of 34 years in the HR and business roles of good Indian corporates as well as MNCs, such as Escorts Limited, DCM Toyota Limited, DCM Daewoo Motors Limited, DCM Benetton, and New Holland Tractors. Welcome to the panel, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an extremely captivating evening here with this power-packed panel. I now hand over the session to you, Mr. Soni.
Thank you. Okay, thanks Mansi for the introductions, and thank you Radhika for a great presentation and some great stories. I'd like to share, I've been working with Radhika now for 13 years, and she continuously transforms herself. Every 1st of January, she comes and there is a new aspect to her personality, to her consulting, and it's really a joy seeing her like that. But she doesn't stop there. She also makes other people transform and change, and at times I've been at the receiving end of that. Some time back, I shifted to Bombay. I used to be in Delhi, and pretty easy and serious kind of a guy, which I'm still. But I reached Bombay, spent 30 days in the month of December, and then on 1st of January she came and said, why are you so serious? Why do you drive everybody nuts? Can you put your hair down and just relax? Well, I have no hair left now, but and so she said, you should take leave. When was the last you took leave? So I said, maybe, when I was sick. She said, no. When did you last take 2-week leave? So I said, I've never taken 2-week leave. So she said, you should, and you should, go with your family and let us be. So that June, I did take 4-week leave, leaving everything to her, and I did get changed and transformed. So, yeah. So that's something about Radhika and myself, but we are really fortunate to have this panel here. We have 5 chief executive officers and of course director, but with cumulative experience of 180 years. So really fortunate to have you all here, and thanks for making this time. We have 5 different industries which are represented here. We have IT, we have infrastructure, we have education, oil and gas, auto, so very diverse. So we're sure we're going to get a lot of different aspects of change and transformation we're going to learn. Just to start off, I wanted to share a few personal experiences about change. And I now live in Bombay, and a couple of years back, I was traveling on Marine Drive. Marine Drive is a 4.5 kilometer long road. And as soon as I turned there was some conversation going on, and I said to my 10-year-old daughter that my first car was Maruti 800, like it is for millions of us. And she said, okay, and now what is Maruti 800? So I said, okay, I never thought somebody will ask me that question, because in our kind of era, everybody knows. So I said, okay, hold on, I'll show you one Maruti 800. 4.5 kilometers I traveled, there was not one Maruti 800 on either side of the road. And that's the kind of transformation that had taken place in, from 2000 onwards, that there are plethora of cars from every car company, and that's the change that has taken place. And so the whole industry has changed. And then, if I look back and see where my career started, I worked with ICI, and ICI, I was in Calcutta, and we had an explosive plant in Gomia. Can anybody, imagine what kind of communication, Gomia, okay, what kind of communication would be happening between Calcutta and Gomia? Any? By air, yes, but in terms of, if I needed to communicate something with Gomia, how would I do it? So wireless. Hello, Gomia here, and and how the things have transformed. My milkman, everybody has, the whole telecom revolution. So the auto revolution, telecom revolutions are happening all around us. And so change is continuous. I read here of a great author who says, your success isn't based on your ability to change. Your success depends on your ability to change faster than your competitor, your customer, and business. So it's all about fast. Some time back, I was working with Mr. Damodaran, who was the chief executive of SEBI, and I was talking about change, and he said that change is never slow. Change either happens or doesn't happen. And so on that note, I'd like to start this panel discussion. The whole format is I have few questions, which I'll be posing to our esteemed panelists, and then we'll open it up to, after an hour, for question answer from all of you. So my first question, Preeti, to you to start with, is why is change such an important issue in today's organizations?
Thank you. Radhika, it was wonderful. I don't think it is about today. it was always a need. Because I'd like to bring one data to the table. 70% of the companies, Fortune 1000 companies that were there in early 1900s died by the time it was 1970. And it was simply because there was no change. So I don't think it's an issue of today, it's always been the issue. There are two parts to change, in my opinion. One is when you are in a situation of either an inflection point where either you're in a state of risk or you're in a state of aspiration. One of the two. No other reason for change. So that is what happens. It's a question of realization. So that is generally taken as a project, and it's taken over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So that's what companies go through. But actually, I'd allude to what Radhika said, it's a continuous process. Change is every day, every minute. Every morning, when people come to office or go to their work or run their businesses, unless they are aware of what change is like, what kind of situation, in their environment or in their strategy is going to impact them, there's going to be no change. It's a continuous process. So I frankly believe that change is only due to two reasons, and it could be both. Thank you.
Thank you. So, sir, would you like to share your thoughts on this?
I would like to share that, first of all, a great advantage coming here as one of the first people to be invited. My name starts with A. And I remember I have had this advantage since college. Because all my Viva Bose in the engineering college, I used to be the first person to be called in. And immediately they would be serving of tea to the examiners. And they would just ask me, how are you? And, in that confusion, and my Viva Bose would be over. And I always did very well. The first candidate wasn't a candidate for failure anyway. So just starting on a very light note, but coming to change, it's serious, it can be fun. But let me give you one perspective. We've seen great research talked about, and so I am not going to go into why change is required. Change is required, and I think I think the time required to change has become short. The organizations that you see getting out of the Fortune 500, the time span is very low. And that's because they many times fail to recognize what is changing outside, whether outside changes are faster than the inside changes. I think we saw one of the quotes, Jack Welch. But I would like to say that when we took over, I was part of the Tata Power Delhi Distribution now, but NDPL earlier. The employee base even today remains 2/3 of the DVB employees. And they have changed. How have they changed is one area where I think, just one example, the effectiveness of a particular listening to your consumer. In the call center, we had a very important area where we said ethics and other things should be the change agent in the organization. So every evening, our call center, when it was free, would ask where our people had gone to do repair work, some 4 questions. First was, did he know his job? Second was he polite? Third was, did he carry the proper tools? And fourth was, did you give chai pani? Now, if that question was yes, there was a rep that would come to me next day morning, and there would be his boss and others would face it. And we would move them out. Of course, this had to undergo change because one of them said that I was given chai pani, but I never asked for it. So we changed the question to, did he ask for chai pani? So I'm just telling you, every data, every item, every small detailing that you need to go into needs change, and there is no denying. And the second example is that we had a program where all senior people went to the call center and listened to the complaint calls themselves. That gave us an idea of what the whole idea was. So reaching out to your consumer and touching the last point, so that you could really know what required to be changed in your organization. Another example, they were all, you can classify them changes or innovations. The billing. We looked at a certain place where they had different colors of bills, and we realized, and in our area you will see if somebody is a defaulter, they get a red bill. Otherwise, the normal bill is a blue bill. What does the red bill do? In clusters and colonies, anybody coming to pay a red bill faces some kind of a look down by the others. And our revenues went up because people didn't want to get red bills. So that was another change. So change can be something very small, it can be something very large. I haven't talked about large changes, but I think the need to make changes has been substantiated by the excellent research work that we saw. So that's where I will move to the next speaker. Thank you.
Well, change that it happens, or I don't think that's a point to be discussed. The issue is how many of us notice change happening around us as individuals and also as organizations. The sector that I come from, education, I think changes, I won't use the word either don't happen, but if they happen. And especially